I just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I absolutely love about 8-tracks, and I know that 8-tracks are pretty much vilified most of the time. People like to speak of 8-track in a terrible way. They often say, "Oh, 8-tracks." It's always the butt of the joke. But I'm here to tell you that 8-tracks are actually pretty awesome. Just ignore all the things that you've heard in the past and take it from me. 8-tracks are actually pretty awesome. There are some issues with 8-tracks. For example, because the tracks are so close together, oftentimes especially if you're using a poor quality player that doesn't have the tracking properly, it actually will lead to bleeding between the tapes. And every now and then, when the tapes get older and they become a bit more, the magnetism on the tape gets a bit wonky, you'll end up with the tracks bleeding into each other. It happens, but it's in my experience, guys, it hasn't been that significant of an issue. I have played quite a lot of 8-track tapes. If you look behind me, I have a whole collection of them right behind me over there, and I really enjoy playing them. What is ironic is that 8-tracks actually were released after the compact cassette, and however they died before the compact cassette. Pretty much now nobody plays them except for enthusiasts like myself, but cassettes are still being played to this date and actually being still produced to this date. The issue with 8-tracks is that they never quite gained the popularity of the compact cassette. It was actually the Sony Walkman that really boosted the chances of the compact cassette. The 8-tracks, on the other hand, didn't have that sort of revolutionary technology that would really lift it up in its acceptability by the culture. It never had that sort of luck, I would say, like the compact cassette did, to the point that the compact cassette became a fixture of hip-hop culture in general from the 80s to the 90s. That also translated to more investment in the technology, to the point that even though the compact cassette actually is thinner, significantly thinner, and also runs at the slowest speed, technically it should have a poorer sound quality than the 8-tracks. However, with the 8-tracks, because the technology was not developed that far in terms of the tape itself, the tape, the codings, the players, it never really went up there in quality. Like you can find different cassettes, type 1, type 2, type 3, or type 4 cassettes. You never will find anything like that for the 8-tracks. But what you can find for the 8-tracks are some really good, amazing jams actually. This particular player that I have that's currently playing on, I'm gonna show you guys. This is the Realistic 8-track player right there. Now this Realistic player, you might think that the brand is, because it's a Radio Shack brand, you might think that it's not a good player. It's actually a really, really good player. It gives me really amazing sound. The richness that I get from a player like that is amazing. I do prefer the warmth of the 8-track tapes versus the compact cassettes that I have. And I'm just gonna test this with you guys. Just the music playing in the background. Just listen to this. Now what I like about 8-tracks and the way I've set it up here is the sound is so warm, like I mentioned before, and it's not harsh at all. It just feels, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very warm. It feels natural. It feels analog. It just sounds really analog. If there was ever a description of the analog sound, 8-tracks do have that, and I love it. And another reason is that an 8-track tape can just keep playing on a loop, and that's because the tape is actually looped. So it can just keep on playing perpetually for hours on end. And that's one thing I really love. You can't do that with cassettes. For analog technology, that's rare. You can't do that with cassettes unless you have continuous play. You cannot do that with you can't do that with reel-to-reel unless you have, again, those continuous play reel-to-reels, that special mechanism in there. For this one, you don't need any special mechanism in the player to allow that. It's just all built into the cassette itself. So the cassette is looped in a way that it just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling. It is quite amazing, actually, the thinking and the technology that went into creating that tape. So if I put in an 8-track cassette that I love, I could just listen to it for hours on end. I love that. As a collector, I also do appreciate the fact that not many people are going for 8-tracks. So every now and then I really do catch some good gems out there. I just enjoy just the feel of just popping in a cassette, and once you pop it in, it will start playing automatically, and when you take it out, it shuts off the machine. That's cool. That is really cool. I enjoy that. So those are the reasons, guys. Those are the reasons why I still listen to 8-tracks. It was mostly for the sound, really nice sound, and it's also for just a continuous play of it, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a wonderful day, guys, and as always, stay safe.